Welcome to another live stream, dudes and dudettes. With Trump being officially sworn in the markets, we have seen a crazy volatility lately. It's been volatile as hell. So I want to take a look at Bitcoin as well as some altcoins, several different time frames, just to get a feel for the overall market. I do have a couple concerns that I'm currently looking at, but I also see a lot of opportunities in the charts. So with that, let's get the big ugly out of the way right off the hop here. And that is my weekly chart. A lot of you guys who are here with me live already know where I'm going with this. Same concerns I had back here. And yes, eventually we ended up invalidating what happened here, but I just have concerns that the same thing may be happening here as a short-term reversal, if nothing else. Last time we got this signal, I'll go into details about it in a sec here, but last time we got this signal, we did end up correcting about 30% to the downside. So if we get that again, and it obviously doesn't have to happen this way, but if we get that again, we're going down towards 76, 75K. So, and with that, I mean, I have other concerns that technically that is bearish structure because we'd be setting lower lows and so on. But that happened back here, and eventually, like I said, it was invalidated. So basically what happened here, guys, is just looking at the candle bodies. It's actually a lot easier to see if I remove the wicks here. Let me just remove these. Much easier to see the chart structure here on the weekly time frame. But if we just look at this on this whole uptrend here, you can see that, well, basically since what, back here, ever since down at about 25,000 US dollars, Bitcoin never did break higher low structure until this point. Where you can see that here we had our high, we did set a higher high, we ended up losing that higher low. We pulled back to that 786, 886 Fibonacci pocket, and then we ended up, that put a pause on the market, you guys, for over half a year. From the time we lost this structure back here to where we actually broke out and set new highs, it was approximately 8 months. I love the gif in the comments there. So the thing is, after breaking that structure, getting that pullback, everyone's thinking, and this is where we were having Trump events and stuff like that as well. Actually, on this one right here, I'm going to bring the wicks back for us here. When we came back up right here, this was when Trump was giving a big Bitcoin speech right here, and FOMO was crazy right after we break some structure and pull back to a 786, 886 fib pocket, and then dumping again, kind of a thing. And I'm seeing very similar things right now. And last time we had this structure break where it all changed, basically right here. This was the bearish signal. That doesn't necessarily mean to FOMO short, but then when we get that pullback, everyone's getting bullish, thinking, oh, we're taking another run at all-time highs, but they're not noticing that we broke structure first before getting that retest. And this was a perfect bull trap. And to go with that is the RSI, and this is actually my big concern with today's price action. Well, not today, but just this week in general, is that down here you can see this RSI divergence we have, and there's a lot of divergences that occur in an RSI. If you're looking at the indicator, there's tons of divergences everywhere, but this is a very specific one that I look for where it's overextended conditions down towards that regular territory. This would be the 70 mark right down here. So I'm actually not bearish on the market when we are in those overbought conditions, but it's when we lose that and get that bearish divergence. So we're attacking the same resistance level with significantly less strength, the relative strength index. So significantly less strength in the market, attacking the same resistance we couldn't break last time. Why would the market push through that? It wasn't until we were able to actually break this. This RSI actually had a beautiful, I mean, it respected technical analysis here absolutely beautifully. We got 4 perfect touch points on that trend line, and once we broke that, that's where the market was able to continue its uptrend. So right now what I'm seeing is something very similar. Is, you know, we did end up losing this structure here. We broke down below this, and then we're getting that bounce back up here, but you can see we're just kind of, yeah, we got slightly higher here, but we're really struggling with this level. And to go with this, we do have this same divergence on the RSI. This does not need to play out the same. I want to be very clear about that. If we actually close a weekly candle above our highs, I will be full moon boy again. And it's not even that I'm bearish, okay? All jokes aside, I'm more so just cautious on Bitcoin right now. I think it's okay to be cautious at resistance when there's a big potential reversal signal that often calls 30 to 70%. Actually, no, 30 to 85% corrections this signal typically calls, like back here, which ended our last parabolic bull market when we had to go higher because this market cycle was different. Bigger players were in the game, hedge funds were involved. We were never gonna this was going to be our super cycle, et cetera, et cetera. That same RSI divergence actually ended the entire market cycle. So something to consider there. I have no doubt in my mind that exactly what we're seeing in the chart right now will, in my opinion, that is what's going to end this market cycle. I don't think that this signal right now is going to be that cycle ender, but I do think that it's worth considering to at least be cautious at these levels, just because I am not a fundamental guy. You guys know this. I think people trying to read the news and watch events and figure out all that kind of stuff to get an edge on the market. I personally think there's so much more room for error. If you're looking for reasons to stop making mistakes when you're looking at charts and mapping out lines and stuff, if you're looking for ways to make less mistakes, but you're going to assume that understanding the way that everything happens in the media, how that's going to affect the entire global economy, and that's easier to understand than a couple trend lines. I just think I like to keep it simple. Simple strategy for a simple guy. It's something easy for a nice smooth brain like mine that it can really get in there. So I just keep things very simple. I have not watched a single speech with Trump, with Powell, FOMC minutes. Honestly, I ignore all of that, and I know that's not for everybody. I have never once tuned into anything like that because I think that it blinds my judgment. I think that my edge in the market is being able to not get wrapped up in any of that, because I have, and a lot of you guys in the group here live with me now know that I have, to put it bluntly, a very not give a fuck attitude. And that goes for both directions. I just really don't care what's going on, and I am not going to look into anything because I've misunderstood how markets were going to react to things in the past with COVID and stuff like that. Yeah, like at the end of the day, if something in the fundamentals is going to matter, it's going to show up in the chart structure. So as it goes now, I don't care that Trump's president now. Here's another thing, you guys. Sorry to go on a long-winded rant here, but I think this is an important one, is everyone seems to think that Trump and BlackRock and all these big players getting into the space is a good thing, as if just because we've been in crypto longer, we're going to outtrade them. You have to understand that these people are market people, and they are going to make, if anything, trading's going to get harder for the average person. A perfect example of this is how many people got suckered into FOMOing into Trump's meme coin late. His own followers, he rugged his own followers. The price went up to, what was it, $80, $90, something like that. And him or his family or whoever's behind it sold a bunch after everybody basically panic sold all of their crypto to suck into his crypto coin. And then they basically bought everyone's crypto for very cheap, and their coin continues to plummet, and who really cares, right? They basically printed billions of dollars out of thin air and bought everyone's crypto for cheap. And these are the kinds of, if you're thinking it's going to get easier and they're going to make it easy on you, that was a perfect example. If in the last week since that whole Trump meme coin launched, if you've lost money because of that whole escapade happening, that is a perfect lesson of how it is going to get harder, because those big players will outplay you. To think that you're going to beat them at their own game in the markets, I mean, I think that for them it's like shooting fish in a barrel right now. And that's why I don't necessarily think that no matter how bullish the fundamentals are, I don't think we necessarily have to climb higher. Honestly, for me, and if anything, it's more of a timing thing. I think that this bull market still has time. I don't care what's going on. I just think that we probably have another half year to a year of overall uptrend before we get an actual bear market. But the thing is, I'm not blind to the idea that the markets really don't give a fuck what I think, and they don't care about my feelings. So I'm just going to play swing by swing, scalp by scalp. You guys know I generally like shorter time frames, so I really don't care what happens here. It's just, if anything, I just like to zoom out, look at the weekly, get a grasp of what's going on, understand, is it possible for the price to go down right now, no matter how bullish I may be? Is it possible that the price goes down instead? Yes, there's some red flags. Don't be an idiot. Don't get total FOMO into resistance, basically. Because here's the thing, guys. Right now, taking profits on longs and stuff like that as we get up to resistance levels, if we break this structure, then we can just start playing the upside again. It just makes sense from a risk-reward side of things for me, that I am more so playing things bearishly right now. Like with Trump and Melania token specifically, those are the only two things I've really been trading the last week, and it has been 90% of the time to the downside. I've been mostly shorting them. And I mean, except right now, I'm actually in a bit of a Trump long, which I am nervous about because I personally think they're going to keep going down. I'm only taking this because of a Stuber fib, keeping my emotions aside and just playing it for what it is, basically what we're at right now. But we're right in the middle of a Stuber fib pocket. And yeah, if we lose these lows, I think it'll continue dumping lower. But for the most part, I've been playing them to the downside, and it's been playing out great. And I mean, the trend master indicator is a perfect example of that. Is this, we have this beautiful, even on the 5-minute chart, just lower sell, lower sell, lower sell, lower sell, lower sell. I mean, just an obvious trend laid out by this indicator. So it's actually been quite nice to trade, honestly. So yeah, basically Bitcoin, I mean, I haven't been trading it a ton, but as I said, I find it very easy right now. It's not that I'm bearish, but I have a very easy time right now not being blinded by FOMO. And I know a lot of people have a hard time with that and think they need to be in a crazy all-in long or something like that because we might break resistance. Yes, resistance, we always look strong when we're going into resistance, just like we always look weak when we're coming down into support. So as it stands right now, yeah, we're at an important resistance level. Yeah, we have a scary divergence. There's a few things on the weekly time frame. So I'm open to the idea that we could possibly go down. Here's the thing, is I do think that recently on the 4-hour, I think we have a nice bullish setup. And my thinking here is basically, here was our old high here. Notice we set a higher high. Let's make this green because that's a bullish signal right there. So here's my bullish signal because we broke structure. The thing is, a lot of people would want to long into that because everybody loves getting wrecked on FOMOing into breakout positions. But what I like to look for at that point, that's where I'm looking for the Fibonacci pocket pullbacks and stuff like that. So at this level, yeah, it's great that we did set a little bit of a higher high there, but it looks more like a swing fail kind of a thing because it's most likely going to pull back after sweeping the highs here or breaking the highs. We're just going to, and I mean, this doesn't have to happen, but the typical trade setup I look at is I like that structure break and pulling back to the fib pocket because my lowest point between these two, our high and our higher high, would be right here. That's the higher low that I'm considering on this trend. So that's where I'm pulling my Fibonacci's from. And so yeah, if we end up getting down to these levels, I will absolutely be checking out shorter time frames and looking for long positions on Bitcoin. I don't think I'm going to blindly take one. I would want to see some sort of structure break and maybe, you know, a 5-minute Stuber fib inside the 4-hour one, Stubception, as we've called it, to really throw a cheesy one in there. But yeah, you know, just looking for those confirmations on the shorter time frames inside the bigger swing type of play, I would be interested at looking at a long position in that case. But as it stands right now, I have my concerns with that weekly chart, with that divergence. I am worried about this. I don't know. It looks bad to me. I'm hoping best case scenario for the market, actually, in my opinion, at least, would be if we get this kind of price action where Bitcoin does just pause and range sideways, even if it's slightly up, slightly down, whatever, if it's just basically in a giant range like this for an extended amount of time. I think that would give a lot of time for altcoins to go on a nice run. And I know a lot of them have been getting hammered lately, but there's also a lot that are doing okay. There's been some nice bounces on some AI coins and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, those Trump coins, they definitely sucked a lot of liquidity out of the market, out of the meme coin communities and stuff like that. So a lot of the people who are celebrating him getting in and how good it's going to be for their crypto, that single-handedly wrecked a lot of people. So again, just a little example of how the big players are, to assume they're going to make our lives easy. Not necessarily the case. They're going to shake us out both directions every chance they get. Just want to look at Trump coin here. It is currently still in that 786, 886 Fibonacci pocket on the 5-minute. The 5-minute, actually, I'm mad at myself about this one, you guys. I want to go back to where Trump topped out, and I think you know what I'm gonna say here, but we had, where was it here? Well, yeah, basically anywhere I look, I think it was actually the 1-minute I was looking at. Can I even find it on that? There was basically a beautiful textbook Stuber fib right here, because you can see that we lost this uptrend here. Let me just zoom in a little further. You can see that right here we had our highest high, in fact. This is where we lost that higher low structure, and then notice what happened after we end up getting that. We pull a fib from that top to where we ended up finding our bounce. Look at that. And I can't believe I totally missed that. I don't know how, because that is absolutely textbook Stuber fib structure. And that brought us all the way up to $77. Your average entry would have been right around $75.50. That was a monstrous move, and that's only on a 1-minute. But that's how, this crazy volatility, I think it ended up getting cut in half within like an hour or so. Just an absolutely phenomenal signal there. I unfortunately missed it, but very disappointed in myself about that one, because that was the perfect top of that coin. It may never be that high again. I personally think it probably will eventually, but honestly, I don't know. That market cap was crazy high. I don't know if people are going to go for that again, but we're going to have to see. His coin may very much so just directly reflect how happy people are with him in presidency. I have no idea what's going to happen there. On the 1-minute, the ALGO master is actually pointing out this potential bearish Stuber fib. So if my long does end up getting up to these levels, I will absolutely be closing most of my position. I mean, my first target is up here, right around 35.80. I like to front run my targets a little bit, but that's basically what I'm shooting for. Is I'm hoping to see the price bounce up to these levels. We'll see if they're able to push it that high, but let's check out Trendmaster. We do have a buy signal. It's a lower buy signal, so still an obvious downtrend on the 1-minute. Same with the 5-minute. The fact that we have those lower trending sell signals, I mean, that's such a strong trending indicator. I guess that's why it's called the Trendmaster. That is probably my favorite indicator. I love using it. Not that I take each sell and buy signal on their own. I know a lot of you guys who have been on a lot of my streams know this by now, but it's not that I take every sell or every buy signal, but I love using those signals for spotting a trend like that or potential reversal. As soon as, for example, here we had higher trending sell signals, and then we get a lower sell signal, and look at that change, right? Just a beautiful change to the downside. So that can really affects the way that I choose to trade the markets generally, which direction. I am willing to swing at this long just because that was a nice juicy size Stuber fib potentially if it's going to play out. I don't know if it's going to, because honestly, this is one of those times where I missed it the first time as well. I talk about this on a lot of streams that I usually only like playing these the first chance I get at the Stuber fibs. And technically we got it back here, and we did hit that 0.5, that first target there. So at that point, this is our second run at this support. So at that point, it is a little riskier. My size, the size of my position reflects that. I went a little bit smaller just because I think it's higher risk. but I still was looking at just playing the risk reward here that, yeah, if we lose these lows, I'm down to just cut my losses on that one. I did quite well on shorting Trump earlier today. I actually ended up taking 3 shorts on it, and that played out great. So now, you know what, time to swing it along. We'll see what happens here. But also, I want to check the 1 hour, because I think the 1 hour was also right now it's showing a bearish one. So if we do get a crazy pump to the upside, understand that there's a lot of resistance up there. But just showing my own here on the 1 hour. Let's get rid of some indicators here. Pulling my Fibonacci's, because right here is where we had our structure break, because obviously here was our low, lower low, lower high. We end up breaking it. Whether you want to consider the wick or the candle body, does not matter either way. We got that break, pull a fib, and right now we are basically right around that 786 on the 1 hour, right? So again, this has been tested once before, 786 test, 0.5 fib target. So technically that has already played out once. But again, support is support until it's broken. So again, just a calculated risk I was willing to take. But that's a 14% move up to that first target. Unfortunately, I missed it that first time, but I did catch the short back down, so whatever. Can't catch them all. Just curious in the chat, have any of you guys been trading Trump, either with leverage, spot positions? Not at all, not touching it. How does everybody feel about it? Or honestly, if you have strong feelings about it in general, whether it's just I personally think it's a little bit shady, and I can't believe that they can not consider that some sort of insider trading or market manipulation or something. I have, but you know what? It is what it is, and I don't really care, to be honest. We'll just see what happens. I'm just here to trade the volatility, so the more shady shit going on, the more volatile it's going to be, so I don't care. I got to catch up on some chat here. Last I saw was a bunch of bear gifts. Oh, yeah, look at those. Yeah, what should I just want to get something up here. Let's throw on the Bitcoin 1 minute for now. Just want to see what's up here. Let's check out what's the trend master doing. Still, so we have a buy signal. Again, it's a lower buy signal, so I don't know how much credit I want to give that. ALGO master showing this mini Stuber. Interesting. So, you know, I love using this indicator as a second opinion and just having it run just in case it points out a Stuber I'm not paying attention to or something. But here's a nice example that even on the 1 minute it caught this little one, right? Still to be decided if it's going to hit the first target or not. Got pretty damn close already, but again, it looks like a decent entry there. So I'm quite blown away, honestly, by this ALGO master indicator and how well it recognizes a strategy that I kind of just made up on my own, and MDX or the team was able to throw it into an indicator, and I love that it automatically picks them up. And so often it's the exact same Fibonacci's that I would have pulled, just like this. This is exactly how I would have it. And that's been a deciding factor as just another level of confluence when I'm entering positions lately, is I've been looking for basically this indicator to agree with me, or the indicator to point out a Stuber fib to me, and then me double check it, make sure that I agree with it. Because sometimes there's some misfires or things pop up that have already been invalidated, and or they're still up after they've been invalidated, stuff like that. So I still like to keep an eye on them and look at my own. But when they kind of line up, I mean, yeah, that's one of my favorite trading strategies, and I love having this indicator as a second opinion. For those of you guys with me here live, obviously you have all the MDX ALGO indicators. So that's the ALGO master indicator. The only thing I use on it actually is this. And if you go into your settings and you go down to fib type, there is some presets there for the Stuber fibs. And yeah, I've also just changed my colors a little bit and stuff. And I don't know if you even need to set the numbers. I did like this just for peace of mind. But yeah, that's how you can have them automatically pop up like that. Boom, there's the first target from that one. So that was automatic. This indicator automatically showed me my own strategy on the 1 minute on Bitcoin here. So pretty crazy. Pretty crazy what these indicators are capable of. Between this indicator and that Trendmaster indicator, those have been my favorite recently. Chaos Figures could see that small corrective move down to the mid to low 90s. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Where was that? On the 4 hour, I guess I never did mention. Oh, see, this bearish one on the 4 hour was actually invalidated, so that's a good sign. But this one that I have outlined here, yeah, as far as low 90s, I think it's absolutely possible. I would start to be cautiously bullish kind of around that 94, 95K. If kind of that 95 down towards 91 are able to hold, well, honestly, all the way down to 89. If we hold anywhere in there as support, I think it's quite likely that we end up breaking these highs here. Or at least get some sort of a bounce, right? It would be a nice Stuber fib setup, even if just looking to catch a little move. Because, I mean, when I enter positions, you guys, I always like to play the range first and then hope for a breakout later, right? So if I end up in a swing long on a position like this, I will be taking some profits here, probably before that, honestly. And definitely more up here because the 214 is basically the opposite 786. And from there, I would hope to have part of my position still open and catch the breakout from there. So not every trade you should be swinging at a home run because the market likes to trade sideways more than breaking out. So, you know, it's important to play the ranges that you are entering. Basically, if I'm entering a position because of a range, I want to be taking profits in that same range. And then if it breaks out, great. I still hit that home run with a part of the position if it happens. And if not, you still paid yourself in the process if it doesn't break out, right? So that's kind of what I would be looking for there. Let's go back to the 1 minute. Let's get the good stuff. Yeah, like Bitcoin doesn't look like a bad short there to me, honestly. Still holding this buy trend, but I mean, if it loses this, sets another lower sell. That could be confirmation that this thing's going to continue dumping. It is just the 1 minute, so take it for what it is, but it just looks weak to me. And with that Stuber fib that the indicator outlined, see if it ends up hitting its next target. Wish I looked at this earlier, actually. The shorter time frames. That's the thing, though. And honestly, so a lot of people, and I figure most people should probably trade longer time frames. I'm personally more comfortable on a shorter time frame, but I know not everybody is. It's more stressful. You have to be very fast at deciding if you're going to enter your position. You have to be fast at setting your positions and stop losses and stuff because they change very quickly. So I think most people should trade longer time frames and they can stay a little more sane. But me personally, I find that if I notice I miss something on a longer time frame and then I catch it later, I'm more likely to FOMO into a position that isn't necessarily favorable. Whereas on a shorter time frame like this, hey, I missed my setup. I never caught that Stuber fib. There's probably going to be another one within the next couple of hours that's worth taking a swing at. So I actually find it easier to not FOMO when I'm looking at shorter time frames. But again, to each their own. Everyone has their own trade styles. I say it all the time. We could have the same indicators, same trend lines, same absolutely everything, and we would trade this market completely different. So always do what works best for you. Stu keeping things very simple. Fantastic. Everyone in the chat trying to make Stu break his on-screen professional persona. Oh God, if you consider me professional persona, that's not good, Leggies. First to make him break wins. Who was it? Who was it? I can't remember. Trump is not a market guy. He's an entertainer. Yeah, I mean, that could very much be. I guess. Well, no, I think he much so cares about what the market is doing, though. Hence, how much money they printed during COVID and stuff like that. Find it impressive that we didn't even make a higher high with all of this happening, with Bitcoin in general. Yeah, we got up to, what was it, like 110? I think we ended up hitting 110. So we hit a very slightly higher high here on the weekly. But just, again, short-term, short-lived wick there. Yeah, this thing might be coming down to this target here. It might go considerably lower. My next target after that, if it does break, would basically be this potential Stuber pocket. If anybody's in a short and looking for ideas where to take profits or whatever, or looking at scalping longs, yeah, I think it's quite reasonable we would come down to here. But again, we're in this smaller range up here first. But if that breaks, I think we would end up targeting down here around 102.8 down towards 102.5. I think would be a reasonable target if this range breaks. Sam, you know me, Stu, been degen scalping. Oh, I know, sir. I know you get your degen on. I feel ya. Too many people have high value bags waiting to dump it. I assume you're talking about Trump there. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people bought the top on Trump and feel like it's guaranteed to go to all-time highs again, just like people think it's guaranteed that Bitcoin hits all-time highs in the next couple of weeks. The market doesn't care about our feelings. Made a bit of soul and left with a small amount of Trump that just sitting there just in case. Then that's 100% the way to do it, in my opinion. You know what? Take those profits as you can and leave a little bit of that bag for that home run, right? Just like what I was talking about with leverage trading. Same thing. Yeah, 92K would be beautiful. I agree. I think, yeah, there's an imbalance there. And yeah, like I said, that Stuber fib, I think absolutely. It would just be beautiful and, in my opinion, healthier price action. I know a lot of people will scream market manipulation and shit like that, but honestly, if this was a 5-minute chart or a 1-minute chart, I wouldn't be looking for an entry unless we drop down here. So as far as market structure goes, this is kind of the area that I would look to get bullish again. That does not mean we have to go down there. That's just my optimal trade setup. Yeah, what's Trump up to here? Let's jump down to the 5-minute. What was it? The ALGO Master had one up. Yeah, I don't really like this position, to be honest. It's looking weak, but it is what it is. Melania, we got a buy signal. It's a lower buy signal, but it is a buy signal. Let's see if we got one here. Got a potential bullish Stuber. I would say that already kind of played out as well, though, right? This got very close to that 786. We have already tested the 0.5 fib. I would say that Stuber's already technically played out, so I don't know if I'd want to take a long if Melania was to drop back in here. You know what would actually make me I was looking at something earlier. Where was it? Just want to get those off. The 4-hour chart on Melania. Oh God. If we can break above this green line around 2.973 US dollars, I'm actually, no, even that, I don't really like it. I don't really like anything. Well, we are really trying to find support here on the 4-hour. I will give it that. The fact that this isn't looking like it's dumping more, you know, maybe it is going to form a reversal, but this thing just, it has not broken a lower high on this trend at all. And even if it does break this green line on the 4-hour, I don't really consider that a lower high. I'd still say the lower high is way up here, but that's a far ways away, obviously. I would like to see if we ended up actually dropping a little bit lower so that we could set a new lower low here, and we would have this tighter lower high here. Because then once we broke that, that's when I would start looking for long positions on Melania more aggressively for a longer time frame anyways. But as it stands right now, all we do is we keep setting lower lows. Yeah, I actually want to get rid of this line because I don't think that's not necessarily a lower high there. What's the... Yeah, I don't know. I just can't help but feel like we're just going to set a lower sell signal again. I don't have a lot of faith in something that has a trend that looks like this. That's just not really... If we could break some sort of a range, you know, like for example right here, we actually have a decent little range forming. If we could end up breaking some structure up here and then getting a pullback, then I would be more so interested in taking a long on something like this. As it stands right now, I'm still just really favoring the bearish side on these. I know that probably shocks a lot of you guys. Solana's another one I wanted to take a look at. Solana is quite interesting. There is this divergence I don't really like on the RSI here. I do like that there's a higher buy signal on the daily chart. I think that that's showing a great deal of strength. The only thing is the support for this type of a signal, you have to understand, since it's a daily chart, is quite a ways away. That would bring us down closer to 190 US dollars, which again, that could mean that 25-30% correction to the downside if that weekly signal on Bitcoin is going to play out. And you can even see right now Bitcoin, we did get that little bit of a wick above all-time highs, just very slightly, at least on the Blofin exchange. Or sorry, what is this? No, never mind. This is Bitstamp. We did technically set a higher high there. But look where the candle's struggling right now, even just below that 786. And same thing if we, sorry, I want to get rid of a couple of things here. If we just look at this old fib pull here, I mean, technically that one never got invalidated, right? Yes, we had this little higher high here where we got that fake out above, but technically we never broke my 115 Stuber fib invalidation level. And yes, we have tested this level a few times within this level, within this little range here. But notice we haven't actually tested the 0.5 fib yet. So we never did get the Stuber fib test followed by testing any of these targets. So I think it's quite likely still that, you know, that is still very much in play. I know earlier I was talking about only liking the first test, but I'm still considering this the first test because we have not hit any of the targets. So I think it's still very possible that we end up dropping. Also notice that where that 214 fib target would be down there, notice that if I pull a fib the opposite way, that's right around my 786 pulled from bottom to top instead. So looking for support. So that's kind of why that's my main target of a Stuber fib setup. So I think it's quite likely we drop down from these levels. Like I said, even if it's bullish structure here, because we set that higher high, I still think it makes so much sense that we would just end up, you know, having that retrace, testing support, shaking out the weak hands, have everybody panic into shorts as it looks like we're going to break out to the downside, but really we're just testing support and then wreck people again. Perfect setup for those bigger players to shake out the weak hands by pushing it back down to support. People are terrified to buy at support. Bought the top of Trump, but don't worry, guys. I sold it and let it all hedge on Putin. I have not looked at that coin yet, but I assume it is a thing. I know when there was like Bowden and all those like presidential ones with the dirt faces or whatever. I know that there was I think I had a couple Putin ones. I think I had, well, there was all sorts of them. There was like a million of those things going around. Yeah, let's go back over to the 5 minute here. Just notice where we're really struggling. Even on the 5 minute, look where we're getting rejected, right below that 786 resistance. One coin that caught my interest actually, and it looks like it's probably a rug. However, again, if it ends up finding some sort of support, breaking structure again, anything like that, so I could see something like now that, sorry, I should clarify here. Getting into some real shit coins now that are total gambles and total degenerate, and absolutely make sure no financial advice. I know nothing about these. These are total trash gambles. But with what's his name, Ross, there getting pardoned from prison and stuff, this is the kind of coin that I could see gaining some traction. But you guys in the chat know I don't have a great history with my meme coin gambles, so take it for what it is. More of a, I prefer charts over fundamentals, but turns out in meme coins, if you don't understand fundamentals or how the tokenomics work, they're just prime for the rug, and obviously most of them will go to zero. So Trump's still struggling here, right around the 886 support currently on the 5 minute. Yeah, shitcoins are like scratch tickets. You buy them for entertainment. Absolutely. If it makes me laugh out loud, I'm probably gonna buy it. Hey, that happened to me. I know I told some of you guys about that one. One that I just randomly bought a small bag of, but I bought one randomly because I laughed and I took a screenshot to send to my buddy because it's something we used to laugh about. And the next day I caught an ADX on it. And, you know, you never know. You never know what's going to happen in the shit coins, but make sure you pay yourself if you're involved with them. Yeah, Beavis and Butthead would be proud. Yeah, Trump looking weak right now. Bitcoin looking weak. Yeah, no shit, eh? And I mean, I'm a huge fan of the show too, so it totally adds up. Yeah, let's hop back into Solana. Gave my thoughts on the daily here that I think it's nice that it has a beautiful uptrend. I can't argue that. We have this beautiful uptrend. Just understand that this uptrend support is quite a ways away. And with that divergence, I think it's absolutely possible for a pullback. I think it'll largely depend what Bitcoin does. But even this right here, I can see, well, again, we have, at least we have this uptrend forming. We broke above this old sell signal. That's nice. It's nice that we're holding this buy trend. However, one little concern I have is that we did break this structure, right? Oh, Mose is struggling all of a sudden. So if I were a betting man, and I definitely am, I would assume that when we see Solana get back up towards this Stuber fib, if we see it get back up to that level, Watch out for that bearish divergence just because we had such overextended conditions back here. If it kind of lines up that we're in the Stuber fib while we are testing that 70 level on the RSI, I think that is primed for a potential rejection, just because, again, if we're attacking the same level of resistance with significantly less strength, then I'm going to be favoring the bears at resistance. That's all there is to it. And if that gets invalidated, we break that trend line. We go straight back into overbought conditions. Again, I'll be full moon boy again. At that point, I will think that this signal is invalidated. Just like any other signal, it's totally wrong if it gets invalidated. The important part is understanding that anything can happen in the markets and to have a backup plan. If the market isn't just going to go straight parabolic because Trump is in office now, do you have a backup plan? Do you have any sort of invalidations in mind where you're looking at taking some profits or anything like that? Because, you know, another thing to consider, you guys, is yes, like I said, Trump is generally good for the markets. Last time he was in office, yes, Bitcoin went absolutely nuts. A lot of people are thinking that it has to play out the same. Here's the thing is, whether you like or dislike the guy, he is stepping on a lot of toes very quickly. He is upsetting a lot of people globally, not just people, but world leaders. He is, you know, he's doing whatever he can to help his people. I think he's looking to make America as strong as he can. However, I think that's going to piss off a lot of people. And being from Canada, I can see how, you know, these tariffs and all this sort of stuff are going to affect things. And I could see that, you know, maybe the market reacts a little bit different with him in power this time. It's not that I think that's going to happen. It's just that you have to understand every cycle feels different because every cycle is different. And we have no idea what's going to actually happen. All we can do is play our probabilities, play chart structure, know how to basically protect ourselves. That's the main thing. If you know how to hedge, you know how to play the market either direction. Because that's the thing, is a lot of people really want to rely on the market going up only because most people don't actually trade well. I personally don't care which way the market goes. Personally, I have a lot of fun shorting. There's a special feeling towards making money on the downside moves, as well as they generally play out quicker. There's a lot of money to be made in a bear market as well. I don't think we're in a bear market yet. I want to be very clear about that, but I am excited for when it comes because I don't think a lot of people will be ready for it. But as I get cautious around these resistance levels, I think I will be able to play a bear market very well when we do get hit with one, and I am excited for it. But, you know, not everybody wants to trade with leverage. That's totally understandable as well. Because honestly, I think most people shouldn't use leverage. You definitely shouldn't learn trading by using leverage. You should learn, I know I've heard MDX talk about it on his streams as well. You should know how to be profitable as a spot trader before you ever decide to throw leverage into anything. You should be able to consistently make gains, be able to predict chart movements, back test your own chart strategies and that sort of thing before you ever consider throwing leverage at anything. That's my 2 cents about leverage. I know what I used to do. Like when I started trading, I looked at coin collecting. I know a lot of you guys have heard this before, but basically I started trading right here. Right here is where I got into crypto. I think it was about $300 from the top, if I remember correctly. So understand that I have been through a FOMO cycle. I have had FOMO and bought in at wrong times. The important thing is staying with it and learning from your mistakes. But I also started with a small amount because I knew I was going to fuck it up in my first cycle. But being I started at that level to keep emotions out of it, and since I wasn't looking at making a ton of money yet, I was more so looking at coin collecting, keep emotions out of it, keep my finances out of it. Just, am I able to collect more of these coins by selling them before they drop and then buy back more cheaper? disconnecting myself from the value, able to keep a level head way better. And learning how to trade that bear market really helped the way I look at the market, and why I honestly don't fear a bear market, right? A lot of people fear them and they pretend they're not going to happen. They also pretend they're not going to be blindsided by it when it does happen. But I can tell you from looking at Twitter and stuff like that, when the warning signs are there and no one even considers the possibility, a lot of people will absolutely be blindsided when it does come. And that honestly would include myself. I do think it will blindside me a little bit, because even when it does happen, like let's say the signal I have right now, yes, I'm cautiously bearish here, but I would be, even though I'm cautiously bearish here, I would be very surprised if it was actually the market cycle top, and that would actually surprise me. Even though I'd be looking at playing the downside, it would still be shocking to me that the downtrend actually turned into a bear market kind of a thing. So I think a lot of people who are not willing to even consider the possibility, and that the price has to go up just because somebody new is in office or whatever, you know, the market doesn't care what we think or feel. Man, I still want to short Bitcoin. How's everyone else feeling about the market? Is anybody else with me on being cautiously bearish? Does anyone think I'm totally out of line being bearish? Is anybody moon boys? Anybody think the cycle is over? How is everyone feeling? Market seems confusing at the moment. Too much to bear. That's fair. The thing is, the market, it isn't all too confusing right now, in my opinion, if you actually zoom out. But if you're married to a trade idea on a shorter time frame, like on the shorter time frames, like Trump, Trump mostly Melania actually, and over the last week or however long they've been there, I've found them very readable, very predictable. But you have to be willing to take profits if you're entering on a 1 minute or a 5 minute chart. You have to remember what type of time frame you're trading, right? If you're looking for a 4 hour move on a 5 minute chart, yeah, you're going to be disappointed because the markets are volatile, but they're still not breaking any crazy ranges or anything, right? We've been in this range basically since the middle of December. So nothing crazy has really happened over the last month when you zoom out. When you zoom in, yeah, it's very volatile, but it's still nice chart structure for the most part. But it is a lot to take in. You know, like I guess, yeah, if the volatility scares you, you obviously, when the market is this volatile, you got to consider turning down the leverage, smaller position sizes, stuff like that. But yeah, and again, just making sure that if you're playing a position of any kind, if you're entering because some sort of a range is there, make sure that you're also taking profits in that same range. And yeah, if you catch a breakout with part of your position, great. But if you're in a winning position, don't forget to pay yourself, especially when it is volatile in these really big ranges like this. You can do quite well by just taking little profits here and there. And if you get married to one idea or the other, you can absolutely get wrecked because, yeah, these are big swings. Um, just wanted a bear pun. The old Stu Bear fibs. Oh, yeah, exactly, Sam. Today's a perfect example. all of the positive news in the markets. Like, look how excited everybody is about everything crypto related that Trump is doing, yet the price is going down. A perfect reminder. Please, you guys, don't trade the news. I I do know a couple people who trade the news very well. Actually, no, literally only one comes to my mind that I know who does consistently trade the news well. However, I know he's not trading a 5 minute time frame. I know he's not trading a 1 hour. He's not even trading a 4 hour. Okay, it's more so daily and weekly charts. And yes, he does trade fundamentals and news and stuff quite well. However, most people are looking at trying to listen to the news, listen to speeches, and then trade the 5 minute chart or the 1 minute chart. And that's not, fundamentals don't kick in right now necessarily, or, you know, you don't know how things are going to react before that news actually carries any actual weight to it, kind of a thing. So yeah, and if you are going to take a stab at trading the news, understand invalidation levels or wait until the fundamentals line up with the chart, right? If the fundamentals can have all the bullishness in the world, but if you're still setting lower lows and lower highs, why try and trade the long side, right? Don't desperately try and catch that knife. However, if you're good at noticing when you break a lower high, for example, and then get your retest and start longing the upside, that's totally different. Then at least you have reason, you have a setup. It's like, hey, you know what? This is all happening fundamentally bullish. And now all of a sudden we got this bullish signal on the charts. Now I feel differently about trading that news because at least it's lining up with the price action. But don't blindly trade the news or speeches or anything like that, right? Jim Cramer. Yeah. Yeah, listen to Jim Cramer. Just kidding. Please don't. Yeah, the inverse Cramer. That's more a news. That's tradable newsworthy right there, I'd say. That's different. So good. Um yeah, guys, I think, oh, come on, hold, you bastard. I don't know if it'll hold or not, but we've just been kind of sitting here at this level the whole stream. And I do want to get going here in a few minutes. Nope, Silk Road getting a little bounce. Good, good. Solana working up. Yeah, I could see Solana bouncing and then having a hard time if it gets a little bit higher, like 280 all the way up to 295. I think is fair game to see potential resistance up there for Solana. Yeah. Anyways, legends. I think that's about all I wanted to go over today. So hopefully you guys found this stream useful. For those of you watching this on my YouTube channel a little bit later, if you are interested in joining the MDX ALGO community and gain access to, you know, some of my favorite indicators here, as well as access to the community Discord, there is the link down below which gives a 10% discount on checkout. And yeah, with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.